So, please give your biggest, warmest HTC welcome to my mentor, Mr. Dan Pena.
Thank you. You can't imagine how proud I am of Dan. We were just talking before I came out on stage. It was before his 22nd birthday that we met, and he came down to have breakfast with me. What he didn't add, or he alluded to, he was dead broke. He didn't have enough money to buy a plane ticket, but he got there somehow. And we spent a few hours together that fateful summer day of 2003. And now look at him. He does have a following of millions, and indirectly that means I had something to do with it. So I'm very pleased to be here. We're going to go through some history. I am a salesman that started out door to door. And I took those sales skills and I improved them years after year after year, decade after decade, until I was selling countries. So I didn't realize I was a high-ticket closer, 40 years ago. But today is a special day. Today is a special day because September the 6th, 1969, was the day I was discharged from the military, 50 years ago. 50 years ago. So, but when you've lived as long as I have, and I just turned 74, in fact, last night at dinner, Dan and I were discussing, I'm twice as old as he is. It's hard to fucking believe, but he's a little younger than our oldest son, and he's a little older than our youngest son. But he has continued to make me proud. But today, in the time that I have with you, success leaves clues. Some of the clues you don't want to accept, i.e., Steve Jobs was a miserable asshole. Warren Buffett is alive, but a cantankerous old man. Henry Ford I was a miserable asshole. And I can go on and on and on and on. If they weren't neurotic, they were psychotic. And sometimes they were both, but they were all mostly miserable human beings. Now, all my life, I have never given a birthday card, sent flowers, bought candies, the kinds of things that you've done all your life. And where has it gotten me? Millions love me, and I have more money than this room put together times 1,000. Success leaves clues. So when I point to various traits that the super high performance people that I've had the pleasure of working with, knowing, myself included, just think about, do you fit that bill? Do you have that trait? One of the things that Dan asked me, which is part of my talk, as you know, I give talks to universities for free. About 6 or 7 years ago, I decided to give 2/3 of my time pro bono, meaning for free, okay? And thank you. And I do that because if I can reach the kids when they're youngest, and that doesn't mean you have to go to university. I didn't need it. Flunked out of university 3 times. Been arrested in jail 5 times. Done a lot of things I'm not proud of. But the bottom line is I understood success leaves clues more than most. And so I patterned, I modeled, I copied, I mimicked the super high performance people that I had the privilege of being around. In the beginning, it was the military. And when I got out, I was naturally gravitated. Now, this is Dan 16 years ago. It's not much of an exaggeration. He did have 2 shoes, though, when he met me. This is him. And now look at him. It's quite remarkable. And I've had the pleasure of mentoring, coaching, teaching a lot of high-performance people. Dan is one of the most high-performance individuals I've had the privilege of working with. He continued, there he is in his mid-20s, with his, you can't really see the pimples on his face there, but he had them. And then that's when he got a little older. There he is more recently on the right, my right, your left. But one of the things that he listened to me more than most is how to stay focused. Follow one course until successful. Most of the room would be infinitely more successful if they became more laser beam focused. Because being a six-figure hitter isn't a big fucking hitter. In the real world, it's not even a hitter. It's no money. And I'm here to tell you ways that you can be a seven-figure hitter, eight-figure hitter, and like myself, a nine-figure hitter. Because good things come to those who go out and fucking earn it. My mother was a prayer. She thought prayer would solve all her problems. Every time I got arrested, she'd pray some more. She'd say a rosary, a few novenas, our fathers didn't help. I was rebelling against something else. I was rebelling against an extremely stern father, and he was an authority figure I didn't want. I did need, but I didn't want for sure, as for some of the young men in the audience will attest to. But the reason that I'm here is, see, I didn't know that males weren't all alpha males. All my dad's mates, chums, buddies, friends from the Second World War and the Korean War were fucking tough as nails. Hence, I come up with the phrase snowflake, because the current generation, last generation and a half, melt under pressure. I read in the Wall Street Journal a few days ago, 14% of the people surveyed admit crying at work at least once a week. Crying. Some cry every day. 87% of the people on the planet, according to Gallup poll, are unhappy and living quiet lives of desperation. Now, money's not the only thing in life, but it's the only God thing anybody counts. Okay? So I'm going to show you how you can follow in Dan's footsteps and how he is following in my footsteps. A few weeks ago, when he sent me these tweets, I think they are, about when he interviewed me at his lovely home and how he bought the book, which he's already alluded to, and how he came to the castle and went through the seminar. And in those days, the days that Dan came through, there was no mentor program. And I'm not here to sell the castle seminar, although a number of the high-ticket kids have come to the castle. But we're sold out this year. We have a waiting list for another year and a half. And I'm not sure I'm going to give castle seminars next year. And I'm waiting on a number of things. And I'm a full disclosure guy. Number one, I'm working on 3 documentaries, 2 movies, 2 books, and if called, I will serve in the next Trump administration. Therefore, I can't have seminars with you guys for 2 or 3 years, in advance. And full disclosure, I knew President Trump in another life. I haven't talked to him in many, many years, but I knew him when we both shared the same lawyers that we did back in the late 70s, early 80s, all the way up into the early 90s. Dan's model is his name recognition. Dan's model is all the people he's trained over the years, both in person and online. But real generational wealth, hundreds of millions and billions, is made not with one transaction, but a series of transactions, and that's buying and selling companies. I'm here to show you that the same Dan that's pictured there is the same kind of kid that did the largest deal in recorded history. One of my mentees, 500 billions with a B, Neom, the city of the future of the 22nd century, Klaus Kleinfeld, who came to me even before Dan in 1997. So I have from teenage multimillionaires like Josh Kim, who I'm going to get around to in a minute, who flies around in his own goddamn jet as a teenager. And what were you doing, young man, as a teenager, other than jerking off in front of your computer? Not a goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing. To the largest deal in recorded history. Now, a lot of people say I'm a Neanderthal. Well, I do have an extra 13th rib, which is a throwback to Neanderthal. My dad had a 13th rib. My grandfather had a 13th rib. So there is some truth. But a better story, and one that I like better, is I was born after they bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima 74 years ago. First bomb was dropped on the 6th. The second bomb was dropped on the 9th of August, and I was born on the 10th of August. There's a whole theory that's not popular anymore. For those of you that have seen the movie Godzilla, Godzilla came up because they were doing atomic testing, and then a little lizard turned into a big, ugly animal. Well, there was a theory back in the late 40s and early 50s that it changed the DNA of the planet for fucking ever, those 2 atomic bombs. Forever. And I was born right at the cusp of those atomic explosions. So for those of you that want to go back and study some history and Google fuck it, I am a product of those bombs. And the 13th extra rib I have, which is a throwback to Neanderthal, is because of those 2 bombs. I am different. There's no question about it. I read the website for this event, not once, as they say in Texas, not twice, but 3 fucking times. Some of the questions you people ask, how to get here. I don't have a visa or a passport and my dick is only 1 inch long. Can I still come? Okay. My wife doesn't want me to go to Vancouver because it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I couldn't believe that shit. I mean, where were you people born? And Dan told me last night, he says, Dan, those are only some of the questions. We got worse questions that they ask us. My generation would be embarrassed to ask those questions. My generation, they're going to go to a deal like this. I'm young, single, and I'm going to drink and fuck my brains out. That's it. Why else would I come to this goddamn thing? But now, you worry about this and you worry about, you have a whole different set of circumstances that you're concerned about. And none of them make you a fucking dime.